Pat?
The comment I would make is, as a board member, I would be willing to pick the one that we think is the best for the clubhouse. Not the cheapest necessarily, the best we think for the clubhouse, keeping in mind where we started with this and where hopefully we'll continue. And even if that meant that we would not do this till next year, I still think that's a better decision, and then budget it amongst all the other things that are going to be budgeted.
Right.
I think that was a good approach, but at the same time, I understand what Wayne's saying. Whatever option you take is going to be a retrofit. And in doing that, you know, there are inherent risks, especially sight unseen.
Yep.
I think if possible, we would take 3 of the options here, actually apply them on the ceiling to see which is the most suitable from an aesthetic point of view. Because I think without doing that, in looking at this, I have real issues with the L girders and how they meet with the beam, because there's a gap. How is that filler going to look? It's just one example. But I think you could only, I couldn't explain that, but I think it has to be visualized.
Steve?
I've been involved in the committee. The most predictable look that I see here is the second one in here, the plus panel ceiling. The 2 things I noticed is the high absorption acoustic tile is used at 80%, which is the highest number you're going to read. Is that correct? Yep. They also come in different, you got choices in what you want, because that's what they're designed to do. So that's the way I lean, particularly in light of Pat's comments. I started out liking the copper design, but I think Ray's got a good point. It's really kind of hard to picture what it's going to look like. So if we did go with Ray's suggestion, I would say we can narrow it down to 2. I'd like to see the high absorption acoustic tiles. I want to see them before we put them up. And then if you want to take one section and coffer it in so we can see that, and then choose between those 2.
But Steve, the high absorption acoustical tiles has the least acoustical effect of any of the options.
It says here, the cost difference is dramatic with 80% tile, 25%, blah, 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 blah. Absorb about 80% of the sound.
No, that's the tile itself absorbs 80%, but it only has a 32% coverage area.
Right.
So it has, for example, half the acoustical effect of the paved entire ceiling. No, let's think about it this way.
Okay. Go ahead.
If you like the way that ceiling looks now, if you want the maximum acoustical performance, then paved entire ceiling won't change the look of it at all, and will have twice the acoustical performance as the high absorption proposal. Twice, 2 times. Without changing the visuality of the ceiling whatsoever. Right?
That's paving the entire ceiling?
Yes.
Yeah.
No visual change.
Well, we know what it looks like.
Well, but it doesn't have to have these holes in it either. It can be,
Right, but I mean,
it can be just plain white.
So you're using, correct me if I'm wrong,
Right.
if you do that, you're using something it's really not meant to do. It's meant to be hung like this.
Well, let me, I was just going to butt in and basically say, if you did the whole ceiling, you could use 1-foot tiles, 12-inch tiles, okay, and they can be glued.
They could be glued. That's where I was getting at. Because this anchor thing, to put enough anchors in there so it doesn't warp.
These are not designed to be glued.
Right, that's what I read.
Right.
So you got to anchor them. Well, you're going to have to put an awful lot of anchors in there so they don't warp over 5 or 10
Yes, you do.
years. But you just solved the problem. They come in 1-foot squares.
Yeah, they still do. I thought they were obsolete, but they still do come in 1-foot squares.
They still have to butt against each other. And the
And you can actually
separation.
buy the glue for them, too.
Yeah, how would they butt against each other?
You glue it in 4 places. So,
Yeah. Well, Ray's got a good idea. I'd like to see at least a section from that.
Well, you're not going to do something on that ceiling and then go and take it down.
Like I said, just a section somewhere.
You could glue it up there, or you could glue it on an area that simulates it, some sort of simulation.
4x8 piece of plywood.
1-foot square is no issue. Just getting it up there.
do we have a motion yet?
No, we don't.
make a motion, we proceed to get bids on an alternate of the panels using the 1x1 panels, right? 1 foot by 1 foot panels, and doing the entire ceiling.
1x1 tiles.
We know it'll work, you know what it looks like, a la without the grid. And it will, I would not think that it would change the looks of the ceiling in any derogatory manner. And then see what that price is, because you don't know.
Yeah, there's no grid pad on that, and you'll see it, the tiles are meant to butt together.
Right.
Okay, so they have a little bit of a, up and
Skull.
down type of thing.
Are they beveled, Bill?
Yeah, they are, I believe they are.
Yeah, so
What color
that'll
are
give it a
they?
finish look.
Pardon?
What color are they?
White, same as this.
Is the ceiling white in there?
Yes,
Yes.
It is?
And then depending where that price comes out, then we'll make the next decision.
that was a motion, right?
Yes, it was.
So we understand the motion you made? Set
It-
the, send the general manager away and get a quote on paved entire ceiling. Any discussion of that? Anybody want to do anything different than that for right now?
We don't wanna get a bid on the coat copper. Looks complicated
It's
to me.
expensive.
It's gonna be harder to put up, too.
Okay,
That's very labor intensive.
Bill, is that with your,
I think the copper is very labor intensive. And,
let's call a vote on this motion and move on. All in favor of sending Ray off to do this? Get a bid? Get a bid? Anybody opposed? Okay, Ray,
Good work on that, though. Took a lot of time and we appreciate it.